Hello there Scapers, my name is Xenavilius and welcome to my overview video of a new region in RuneScape called the Lost Grove, which is sort of a hidden island on Gillinor, but hidden nevertheless. So let's get started. How do you actually get there? Well, if you can access the Max Guild Garden, for which you need 99 in at least one skill, then you'll be able to use one of the teleport portals to the incandescent wisps south of the poison waste, and from there you can just go west, or you can use spirit trees to get to the poison waste and then jump south to the wisps and then go west and then touch one of the stones and you will be through to this hidden island. First impressions are it looks absolutely stunning, a bit like Tardiad but a lot more life in it. Obviously Tardiad is sort of a half dead elven homeland, a different planet as well. So yeah, the Lost Grove is sort of a hidden planet. There's a bit of lore about it which you can read up on, and I will show you how you can do that. But the first thing I'm going to show you is how to do the weekly hunting and farming D&D. So you talk to T. Lee, she's a fairy just northeast of the entrance, and she'll tell you how it works. Basically you have 5 mushrooms there and she'll give you a jar and you need to find the wisps matching the color of the mushrooms. Once you have them, you go back to her, she gives you an elixir and you can put that elixir in the offering in the center of the Lost Grove, which will award you the XP in hunter and farming, equivalent to medium lamps. So basically 17k is the max XP you can get in each skill per week. Not great, but it's something you can do definitely. As an added incentive, what you also have is a possibility at a new pet called the Vinny pet. And the good thing about this is, well, I guess the bad thing, should I say, is that it's capped. So since you can only do this once a week, you only have a shot at it once a week, or 2 if you have a D&D reset token or something. But yeah, I guess that is an added advantage. So that's just a small portion of what's on offer. The other thing is that they've added a sort of a chronicle fragment, which you can't actually pick up, as a memorial to Chester Bennington, the late Linkin Park singer. I was a big fan of Linkin Park, so rip Chester Bennington, it's good of them. And there is also a fairy ring next to where that chronicle fragment was, as you see on screen, and the code for that is BJS, but like in the ancient cavern, you need 5 bittercap mushrooms and a spade to actually activate it. And once you do, you can use either your portable fairy ring, which you could make following the Invention Batch 2 update, or just normal fairy ring to get there. And yeah, that's pretty cool and convenient. It's probably an easier way to get there than any other. You might also see a few mossied rocks on the ground as you go around. Try and pick them up because you can combine them with the headless moss golems sort of wandering around the place, and you will unlock another pet called Clover. This one is much easier to obtain because you can obtain it within like 2 minutes of entering this place. So that's pretty cool. Okay, now that we've got that bit out of the way, let's talk about the bit that I guess most people are interested in. That, of course, is the 3 Slayer monsters that they've released along with this update. First things first, each of these 3 Slayer monsters counts as an extra soul to be collected for the Slayer Codex, which is a trim requirement. So now we have 149 souls to collect, up from 146. The 3 monsters require 104, 106 and 108 Slayer respectively. They're all level 140 combat, and they can all only be assigned by Morvran. You can kill them off task though. Let's start with Vine Crawlers. So these guys have been designed to give the best drops but the lowest XP rates. They have very high defense unless you use specifically the style that they're weak to. For Vine Crawlers, this is arrows. And I mean arrows, so they follow the affinity process where using arrows will give you 90 affinity against them. Using any other type of ranged attack will only give you 65, so that's a massive drop. Using magic will give you 55, and using melee will give you 45. So you definitely want to be using arrows here if you can help it. If you have a Nox bow or a Seren God bow or something like that. I unfortunately only had Ascensions, so I had to contend with 65 affinity. Affinity, of course, is a measure of hit chance, so 90 affinity has almost 50% higher hit chance than 65 affinity, so using a Nox bow will give you almost 50% higher hit chance than using Ascensions, for example. So it's very important you do that. They have a couple of attacks. One of them is a magic attack which hits pretty high, so I recommend protecting from mage. This isn't a guide for those, by the way. I've only done them for like 5-10 minutes. But the other attack is a poison attack which you can avoid by just walking away from where you're standing when you see purple rings around it. So it's a bit like the Warped Galega. And yeah, that is about it for them. All three of them drop the Cinderbane Gloves. Now these are very, very interesting gloves. They are tier 85 Hybrid Gloves, which means they have tier 70 stats. And they have an effect which will poison your enemies immediately as long as you wear them. If you have weapon poison on top of them, you will get an additional poisoning effect, which will give you plus 5% poison damage, and it will hit more often. That's what it's meant to do anyway. I will be testing it out, hopefully in a future video, and doing some damage DPS analysis to compare them to other gloves. So look out for that, but that is it for them. The second set of monsters at level 106 Slayer are in the far north. They're called the Bulbous Crawlers, and they have 38k HP. They are weak specifically to slashing attacks, which basically is what most people use anyway. So the Kopeshas are slashing, are scimitars, so they're slashing. Wait, never mind, the Kopeshas are stab weapons, so they'd only give you 65 affinity. But the Scythe, Nonoxious Scythe, and the Zaros Godsword are both slash weapons, so you can use them. And these guys use ranged, so protect from ranged, and they also have a poison cloud attack, but to combat this one you need to move the crawler out of where it's standing. So yeah, just similar mechanics to the other one, slightly more HP, slightly higher Slayer level to kill, but all three actually count as grove creatures for the purposes of a Slayer task. They're not separate, so you can kill any of them, and these have a balance between XP and drops. And the final ones are the Moss Golems. Level 108 Slayer, have a bit less HP, but yeah, they use melee, and they can melee from quite a few squares away. There is a safe spot for them, which I've been using, but I reckon they might patch this one. And their drops aren't great, but they give quite good XP per hour, that is, not XP out and out. And the weakness of these guys is fire attack, so again, air surge won't be as effective, so you want to use fire surge or blood barrage or something like that. And yeah, they also have a chance of dropping the Cinderbane Gloves. Now, data for drop rates are pretty low, but from what I gather, the drop rate of souls is about 1 in 500, and the drop rate of the gloves sounds like it's slightly higher, maybe 1 in 400, but obviously all of this is based on just a few players' sample sizes. And the gloves are extremely useful for Slayer from what I can tell. I am yet to actually buy them and try them out, but like I said, I will do that as soon as possible and hopefully make a video for you guys. I'm looking forward to that because it's a unique concept, and I think it is tailored towards Slayer, to be honest, because these hybrid gloves will be able to be used by any combat style, and they're sort of an upgrade to the Barrow's gloves, if you like. So that is about it for this update, but of course there is the new high level boss coming into the game, hopefully in like 3 weeks if Jagex are to be believed, but don't be surprised if there are delays. This is another anima boss. It is going to be the third in that series, following from Virago and Telos. And there's some interesting lore about this. You can go northeast of the center and touch the ruins, where you can look at some of the things that took place in the past. I'm not going to spoil it here. I guess you can look on screen if you want to actually be spoiled, or you can go there and see for yourself. There is no visuals, it's just chat, so have a look, see how Solak actually became corrupted. And yeah, there's a bit of information about this boss right now. They recommend 7 players to kill it. Apparently you'll have to fight like different parts of its body, so different health bars at the same time. You have sub attacks along with normal and special attacks. There's also a duo mode for it, and it will drop tier 92 dual wielded crossbows. Either it will drop them out and out, or you might have to combine it the way you do for tier 92 melee weapons from Magister and the tier 92 two-hand weapons from Telos, where you need to combine several drops to make the item. So quite interesting times ahead, guys. I am looking forward to Solak. I will hopefully again be making a video closer to its release when we have more information about it, so that all of us are really well prepared, and hopefully I'll be online for it. I'll be making videos on the boss when it releases, and hopefully it will be the second great boss update of 2017 after AOD, of course, which was a huge success, so I'm really looking forward to it. But what I'm not looking forward to is having to kill thousands of these grove creatures to get those 3 souls. And yeah, I've got a lot of work to do to get my trim back, but should be good fun, especially with these Cinderbane gloves. So that is about it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Wasn't really a detailed video, but hopefully it helped you guys out as far as this new area is concerned. Remember, you don't need any requirements to actually get in there. You don't need any requirements to do the D&D either. The only requirements are for the Slayer creatures. So hope you have fun. I will see you in the next video.